4th, 2025 meeting of the Municipal Building Commission. For the record, we do not have a quorum. We do have Jay Allard, Jackie Robanicki, Terry DeSisto, and myself. So we cannot take any votes to approve anything, but we can receive information, and those members who are not here can watch the tape in order to get up to speed at a later time. So, and Mason is off on military duty again, so we don't have him tonight. But we got some really great people in the audience. So why don't we start with water, and why don't you guys come forward? And is Matt Berry on with us too?
He's up there.
He should be
I see his
doing
name
it.
up there.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, you're up too. So, tell us what we need to know.
Well, I know the list of bills are in order to pay for Tater and Howard. And we also have, I believe, on the agenda, the substantial completion for water line for the Pawtucket emergency interconnection.
And
So
then
that
there is
is,
also a substantial completion for someone else, right?
yep, we just got the one for ISCO for the temporary PFAS.
Temporary PFAS, okay.
Correct.
So, even though we can't take a vote to approve any of those things, I have the authority to sign the bills, which I've done, and we will then, at the next meeting, vote to ratify those so that the proper votes are in place in our minutes. But, and we can't vote, however, to approve the substantial completions,
Okay.
but, so let's take the projects one at a time. Which one do you want to start with?
Sure, we could just start with the Pawtucket
Okay,
emergency interconnection.
yeah,
Everything there, they've pretty much been working on a punch list. Nothing's really changed. We're gonna, with the substantial completion, we'll be looking to take ownership of that, obviously, and in turn, we'll have to exercise those pumps to waste on a monthly basis.
on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Okay.
Just for.
I don't know why I was under the impression it was quarterly, but if it's monthly, it's monthly.
Yeah, I mean, it's anywhere between monthly and quarterly, but I think to be on the safe side, it's probably, it's not a lot of water we're gonna have to move. It's just rotating the high lift pumps that pump the water out to the street, essentially. So it's just not something we want to leave idle for any extended period of time. So it could sometimes go beyond a month. It's going to be whatever the recommendations are, which we've heard are anywhere from the monthly to quarterly mark.
Well, we want to make sure the warranty stays in place.
Absolutely. So in training's the other the last piece of it. They have their punch list we're working on. The flow meter was addressed. But we're going to look to want to get our staff up to speed, and it's been run by engineers. It's been run by the team that's been involved in it, but our operators haven't, with everybody's hands off, taken over on it. So that's something we'd like to have done as we take ownership of it, to have that last round of training for the operations and our maintenance staff to run
Yeah, I
through.
mean, it's always one thing to watch someone else doing it. It's
Right.
another thing when you have to do it.
Absolutely. So before they, step away from the project, that's something we want to go through.
Okay. So, April 3rd is the date they're looking for?
Yes,
Okay, and you're okay with that date?
absolutely.
And so then there'll be once the punch list is done, there'll be a final rec, is that it?
Yes.
And we're expecting that when? July?
On the final rec, I believe, I would have to look, so it's just the retainage that, from what I saw on there, that would be due. So that's for Pawtucket with, and similar to, Matt can speak on that, but on the temporary,
Okay, well, let's just stick with Pawtucket.
okay.
But, so, did they, in the most recent requisition, did they ask to reduce the retainage, or did they leave it as is?
Previously, they reduced the retainage, I believe, and it was, that was they had items, the flow meter and other things. That's why they didn't call for the substantial completion at that point. They just reduced the retainage.
Okay, so, what we'll do is, we'll talk to Mason when he comes back and see if, rather than waiting until the 2nd of July, whether we need to have a special meeting to ratify the things that have occurred. If we do have a special meeting, I don't think we'll necessarily need you guys, because you're already telling us what we need to know, but we'll let Mason help us make that call. So, anything else on Pawtucket?
Nope.
Okay, then temporary PFAS?
Temporary PFAS, Matt can speak to some of the stuff, but basically, Dennis has been in contact with Matt, and Matt has been in contact with Bizco, and we'll be working to get adage, and the request has been made to have the media installed. So the last we heard was 3 to 4 weeks, so we'll be looking to get a firm date on the media being installed into the vessels.
And they've put in a request for substantial completion as well?
Correct.
And I don't think I've seen that paperwork. Do we know what date they're asking for?
I would have to review it. I believe it was at the end of the pay 8. I'm not sure if that's, I think that might be what's,
Yeah, we dated that substantial completion essentially the same as the pay app.
So what would that date be?
I believe it was May 29th.
Okay. So
that
not-
sounds correct.
Okay. And so you're all recommending that when we can actually take a vote, that we vote to approve it as of that May 29th or whatever date it actually is that the case?
Yes.
And Matt, you too?
Yes, we've included our punch list with it as well, so anything that's outstanding, even though the punch list does look lengthy, it's relatively minor things outside of the media install. The biggest thing would be the training, but once the media is installed, we have a couple things such as the bag filter, the self-cleaning filters, which we can do some training on prior to startup. Once the media is installed, then we would go to a full bore training. And then everything else is relatively minor from the punch list outside of that. We do have a draft operation maintenance manual we provided the city, so we can use that. We can mark that up as we go through training. So we're pretty much ready to go with the media install.
Okay, so did they, in the requisition, did they ask to reduce the retainage?
Yes, they did.
And you're satisfied that the amount we're still holding is sufficient to entice them to finish the work?
Yes, all the equipment has already been tested. All of the pumps, the self-cleaning filters have been tested. The building, the whole heat system ran all winter. So that 1% retainage that's outstanding, as well as the media item that they still have to be paid a portion for, that's all sufficient amount to withhold until all those items are complete.
Okay. Anything else you need to tell us about that project?
That should be it until we can have, hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have a date. We should actually be pretty close to an actual install date next time we meet with you guys.
Yeah, right now that's July 2nd. So, moving on.
Great.
Moving on to permanent PFAS.
Sure.
How are we doing?
Good. I'll let Matt speak to the portion of that, but basically we've submitted our paperwork to DEP, and we're waiting on that. But Matt will speak to the specifics.
Submitting the paperwork because they have to approve it before we can give a notice to proceed to the contractor, is that it?
That's correct.
Okay.
So that was where the OPM number, we needed the solid OPM number plugged in.
So Mason isn't here, but have we signed the contract with the OPM?
Yes, there was, I think Matt can speak, but we also, there was portions that needed to be worked out, but I believe they did come to an agreement.
Okay. And you don't have any knowledge of that, Dennis?
It's just what Matt said.
What about you, Matt?
So that package submitted to SRF, it's called a request for authorization to award. And that's basically everything A to Z. That includes the contractor's bid package, their bid bond, It includes information on advertisements. It includes our estimated project cost. It includes a whole litany of documents which we submitted to Mass DEP. There was one thing that we did need, which is the actual executed OPM contract, which we do not have in hand from Mason yet. We do have the hard number for the OPM contract, which that was crucial because we needed to have that in our estimated project cost. DEP said, just get us the package, and we can follow up on the executed OPM contract. So they didn't want to hold anything up. They just wanted to start looking at it. We've already had some positive feedback from Mass DEP on the package itself. The big thing was basically the cost differential, which was the slight overage to the initial appropriation that SRF gave to the project. And that's just something that we're working out with the powers that be in the city, which we knew SRF was going to come up with that and say, oh, well, what other funding sources do you have? It's basically just a standard question they have to ask. We're still recommending that SRF appropriate all of the funding under SRF, because then the city gets 0% interest. It's basically much cleaner on the paperwork end. So we're basically just kind of buttoning that up with SRF. We would anticipate the actual authorization to award hopefully by June 16th, which then gives us slightly more than 2 weeks to execute the contract, bonds, and insurance with the contractor, which then basically gives the city the principal.
Because that June 30th deadline is still extremely important, right?
That contract.
Okay, so Mason is gone for 2 weeks is what I was told by Brooke. So why don't you follow up with Brooke tomorrow and see what the status is of the OPM contract
I'll
being
take so
signed?
lose you guys.
Excuse me?
I'm in the car, so I might be having some signal issues. I just wanted to make sure you were still there.
Yeah, we're still here, so
Okay, great.
why don't we ask Dennis to follow up with Brooke tomorrow and see if the contract has been signed with the OPM, and if it hasn't, what needs to occur.
Right, I'll get that done
Because
Okay.
what I wouldn't want to do is have Mason come back in 2 weeks and say, why didn't you guys do anything?
Yeah, no, we'll definitely get on that tomorrow.
Good, excellent. I know there were some waivers and other things that we needed to apply for. Is that in process?
Yes, that is. That's on our plate. So those we're submitting through the federal government. Basically, all those waivers need to be approved prior to ordering materials. So a number of those we've already sent in. We still have a few more that we need to submit, but that's all information we're waiting on from vendors. So that process is ongoing, but we don't foresee that holding anything up.
When do we think construction would actually start? Still there, Matt?
Did you guys get that?
No.
No.
Did you get that on what I said about the waivers?
Yes, but what my next question was, when do we think construction might actually start?
Dead
I
air
don't think you
again.
heard us.
Yeah. Do you have any idea, guys?
I don't.
All right, well, he's not even on the board anymore.
Yeah, he's on the end. Matt, you
Can you
there?
guys hear me?
Now,
There he
yeah, we've been having trouble. So we were asking when we thought construction might actually start.
So, by the time the contract is awarded, say by June 30th, and we get a pre-construction conference, we get submittals in, I would expect to break ground probably sometime early to mid-fall. That would probably be the best estimate at this time.
Okay, so that means the 1st of October-ish?
Yeah, I would say probably late September, early October.
Okay, and just remind us, how long is this project expected to take?
2 years.
Approximately 2 years.
2 years, okay. So the early to mid-fall of '27 is our
Correct.
projected date, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Time just flies when you're having fun. Okay, anything else you guys need to tell us about that project?
I think that's about it for now.
Okay, well, that's all good news. Anything else that you guys need to say?
Nope, we'll follow up on the status of the contract. I know they had a solid number, but we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, I mean, the contract itself was basically already written. It was just blanks that had to be filled
Right, I
in.
know there was some things that were tweaked around based on time on the project and
Yeah.
how much attention to certain things, so I know some things did move around a little bit.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for your time this evening,
Thank you.
all three of you.
Thank you,
Thank
have a
you.
good
Thank
evening.
you.
You too.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
All right, library, flooring. Mark.
Good evening, members of the MBC that are in attendance tonight, and those that I guess we're going to, that will watch this, this meeting. So informationally, I'd like to discuss the overall project schedule that I worked out with Mason and have forwarded to both the city and to LLB, the architect who's represented here tonight by Angela and Jessica. So the goal is to advertise in the local newspaper as well as the Central Register for the 9th of July, and to make those drawings available and schedule a pre-bid walkthrough, non-mandatory, for the 16th of July. And our current timeline is to have the bids received by the city for the 30th of July, so that we can appear in August at the MBC meeting after we've done our due diligence and reviewed everything and made sure we can make a recommendation, hopefully, to award. And these bids are for both moving services as well as for the replacement flooring project. Now, as a reminder, the city opted to perform this project in a single phase, whereby at the end of November, the library would be closed, and then throughout the month of December, when it's at its lowest occupancy and use levels based on prior history, the contractor would have full availability of the building. So the moving services would preliminarily start the week of November 18th, just prior to the Thanksgiving holiday. And on Monday, December 1st, the flooring project would start in earnest and hopefully be complete by the 31st of December. That's the scheduled goal, and wondering if you had any questions on that schedule update that has been, floating around for a bit.
It seems awfully short, compressed, and aggressive. So if we are not actually starting the work until Thanksgiving, why do we need to approve a contract in early August?
Well, we would, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to
No, I was
interrupt.
just gonna say that, having it out on the street, for 4 weeks may be enough, but, and we certainly defer to your judgment about many things, but is that enough time to make sure we get a competitive bidding environment?
Well, it's the belief of the consultants that that is while it is aggressive, it's an appropriate timeline when all contractors may be looking for work for the fall and winter. The rationale for the procurement occurring in July is so that at the MDC meeting in August, hopefully, we can make a recommendation for an award and then go through the contract process, which would probably take, historically, 3-ish weeks. So now we're into late August to the 1st of September, and then there's a lead time for many of these materials. So while we could defer the procurement of the movers for a period of time because there's no long lead time item on those services, however, we wanted to bundle the walkthroughs and bids and have it all in a comprehensive package so that we could validate the budget rather than have risk. And so because of the lead times of the materials, this is the schedule that Mason and the team thought was most appropriate to mitigate delays and or not meeting the December deadline, because the single phase project rather than a multi-phase project would need to occur during that December timeframe to meet the city's its requirements.
Okay, I understand. And that August meeting right now looks like it's the 6th of August. So, commission members, you have questions on the schedule?
No? No.
Okay?
That's good. Sounds,
I
it
think
sounds
we're good to
reasonable.
go. What else, by the way, have we amended contracts with you and with the architects?
No, there are letters from both the architect, I'm aware, I asked the question, I haven't seen the letter, but there is an email from LLB that indicates that a deferral of the completion date of the contract to the end of January, to the work being done and prosecuted in December, and then the 1 month extra that was in there was accepted at no change in price by LLB. Similarly, Port Construction Consulting also sent an email saying that in as much as we're billing for time only, no extension of time fees would be incurred. So if you want to, if the city wants to issue a time extension change order at no dollars, Port is happy to engage, and in accordance with LOB's email, they appear to be similarly inclined.
Okay.
Perhaps Angela could comment on that, or we can ask Brian.
No, that's good news, but I would ask Mark if you could contact Brooke tomorrow, because Mason's away for a couple weeks, and just ask her to put that on the list of things Mason needs to do when he comes back.
Yes, sir. Happy to do that.
Because I just don't want to end up with work being done and the auditor saying that we can't pay the bill because the contract's expired. You probably would not be happy, nor would LLB.
You're right. Thank you. I appreciate you thinking ahead. Additionally, as it relates to it, there's an open question from LLB. In as much as the project parameters have changed and we've gone from a multi-phase project in an occupied building where there was extensive indoor air quality testing that was carried by the consultant, the question was, if they've already done a baseline indoor air quality test prior to any work being done. Now, they've asked the question as to whether or not the city wants to remove the indoor air quality daily ongoing continuous air quality monitoring and only do another singular test at the end of the project. So maybe Angela could talk about the credit that's been offered, and we'll get some kind of guidance or feedback. I know you can't take a vote, but we certainly would like to be able to tell the vendor what the city is thinking.
I guess what I'd say is, if there isn't an OSHA requirement for the workers that we have this testing, why would we want to spend the money?
Exactly.
We all are in agreement with that train of thought, and there may be some staff in the building who come in at odd times, and we just wanted to offer this option to the city. Angela, do you recall that quote, or do you have that exact amount?
It was $11,410 would be the credit to.
But
So it's not an inconsequential amount. I'm fine with, and it would be my recommendation that the city take that credit and just do one final test at the completion of construction to make sure that all the VOCs, to the extent that there are any in the building or any other IAQ issues, would be known prior to repopulating the building.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I can see the nodding heads. That's the sense of the commission at this point, even though we can't take a vote. So I think that, again, that should probably be included in the contract amendment we talked about a minute ago. And we can vote to ratify that when we have our next meeting. But, so are you expecting, I mean, will Amy or any of her staff be going into the building during that month?
Amy indicated that there may be a intermittent person going in for minimal activity, and certainly we would understand, and contractually the contractor would be responsible for the building. So I think we would need to have further discussions with the library staff and manage any visitors from the city to the building while it's under their control and domain.
Yeah, I would be very concerned about people entering a construction site without the contractor's permission, number one, and for the safety issues for those workers. And you know what's going to happen if we have people in the building and then the next morning they come in and say something's different and they have to charge us to do it over, and we say, no, we didn't do it, and that must have been one of your workers at the end of yesterday. We should avoid those kinds of things, right?
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman, and I would certainly like to have that conversation with the library staff and their board to minimize and even see if we can't find a meeting of minds that, and have them understand that this is an active construction site and that in essence it's not their building for that construction period, and they are guests of the contractor whose insurance it's under, et cetera. So I think we just need to educate and inform as to the risks and the issues and challenges associated with library staff, to the extent that there are any that need to go into the building, to minimize and to do it with the permission of and with the correct protocol.
Yeah, the contractor might even want to escort the person in and stay there while they're there, and hopefully they're not there for very long.
Understood and agreed. So additionally, I just want to touch on, I'm working with LOB to finalize the contract documents, or the bid set documents, if you will.
Yep.
The Division 0, the Division 1, finalize everything and have it conformed, complete, and comprehensive to the extent possible, and to develop and finalize the alternates list. So I will be hopefully providing the city prior to your July meeting and prior to it being published and advertised. Just wanted to make sure that the city is comfortable with the alternate list and the order and the entirety of the general conditions and supplementary conditions as it relates to those issues that are unique to the library.
So, two questions. One is, has Peter Mello been involved yet, the city solicitor, in the documents you're talking about?
No, the draft AIA standard contracts will be part of the project manual, and I would ask here in this meeting for LLB to send the draft contract that would be incorporated within the Division 0 and Division 1 to me, so that I can forward to the city and ask them to provide their review and assent as quickly as possible, giving them enough time to fully review and comment on.
Okay, and then
Thank you.
secondly, does that mean that you need us to hold a meeting towards the end of June in order to approve the add or deduct alternates, whatever we've chosen? I guess they're only adds now. Do we need to hold a special meeting for that?
No, hopefully not. We've gone through them previously about bathroom tile in lieu of patching.
Yeah.
The resilient flooring in lieu of EPT in the back of the house, and the alternate for replacement of stair bead rubber flooring. So should funds be sufficient to do that. What I will do is, once I have the list that is recommended by our consulting team, I will forward it to Mason, because he'll be back by then hopefully, and at your June meeting, we can look at that and get your formal vote on it. And even if not, we could have a addendum to the contract document. So I don't believe you need to schedule a special meeting unless you have other MDC meeting business to take care of.
There is a possibility that we may need a special meeting to deal with the water payment of the bills. So if we do, we'll let you know. Other than that, I have a memory, and so what you're talking about then is approving it at our July 2nd meeting. Is that what you meant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, the only other question is, I had a vague memory that on the add alternates, we were looking at whether all of the bathrooms needed to be done, or maybe only some of them. Did we resolve that?
Angela, please.
Yes, it was only some of the bathrooms, not all of them.
And was it an add alternate to do all of the bathrooms?
Yes.
Okay, so one would be to, if I remember right, the most important ones were the ones the public used on the first floor?
Yes, the men's room.
And then the other ones that were on upper floors would be a different add alternate?
An ad.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay, I guess that answers my questions. Any questions of you guys?
Nope.
All right, anything else you want to talk to us about?
No, thank you. We're looking forward to, wrapping this design phase up, the task one services, to get to the point where we can go off for procurement. And, any comments or feedback that you have, greatly appreciated, as we know you have a great deal of expertise on the Municipal Building Commission. So we're grateful for you as partners.
We have some questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since receiving the schedule, our moving consultants is working on revising the specifications that will go with our set, and so they had questions. Originally in the moving specs, it was said that the library was going to be closed for the month of December to do the work, and that so being 4 weeks was written in the spec. So now it looks like we're going to be closing for 6 weeks total, and assuming that once we close, the 2 weeks is really for getting boxes delivered and having the staff and everybody pack, and then the 4 weeks of construction. So they just need to revise it based off of the 6 weeks of the library being closed. They wanted to confirm if Amy was going to be the move manager and kind of managing the move within the library, or if that was going to be another source.
Well, the move manager was listed within the RFQ for your services, and you had a consultant who was providing the overall plan. Now, you're looking for a representative from the city.
Exactly.
Yes. Amy has indicated previously that she would represent the city in answering those questions, as well as me as the construction consultant. So we have a team in place between the director of the library as well as outside third-party consulting.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
so to
perfect.
the extent you can do it, it's Mark and Amy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Not
I'll let
not
them
an or,
know.
it's an and.
Yeah. Mark, when we publish the drawings, will you be publishing it to the FAC 127 and MHEC? Sending both?
When you say publish, the city's going to publish the documents on their website as well as within the central register and advertise it on the central register and through local newspapers.
Okay.
The combis is the source of the procurement, is my understanding. Combis is the procurement methodology for moving services
Okay.
from the state, from the Commonwealth's bid list.
Okay, she just wanted to make sure that both of those would be receiving the publication, and made it seem like you needed to send it to it.
So generally speaking, what happens is, and I know we haven't worked with the city recently,
Yeah.
and the past practice has been we write or assist the procurement officer or Carol Brown in purchasing. We write up and support her in language for submitting to the central register and for the advertisements, and then they publish it and submit it to those state entities that would then follow the typical, state required procurement. And the same thing with combines.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
I think that was it.
Great,
Okay.
so there's no action on behalf of the MDC or feedback that we need on that. So if you want to just reach out directly to me and we can work through all those challenges.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So I think we're all set, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
Sorry, just one more question. I think we had we wanted to see if there was a date that you needed draft specifications and drawings
ASAP.
before they go out to bid. Okay. ASAP.
I've written several emails with regard to wanting to review the Division 0, Division 1. The MDC chairman tonight asked for the contract and documents sufficient time for city council to review. So as soon as you're able to get them over to me, even if it's just Division 0 and 1 first, and then we can go through and do a comprehensive page turn for the remainder of the drawings and specifications. I think that might be an appropriate pathway forward.
okay. Yeah, I think we didn't know if you wanted a specific date listed on when we issue the drawings and send them to you. Is there?
The date of issuance.
Yeah.
I would say July 9 would be the day, because that's the date we're advertising.
Okay. All right. Well, we can put that when we print. Thank you.
But I'll take the drafts and progress documents as
Yeah.
in flow.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing us to have our project meeting on the NBC's time.
It's always fascinating to see how the sausage is made, right? So, all right, so thank you, and we'll see you on July 2nd, unless we have a special meeting and invite you.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you.
have a good evening.
Good
All
night.
right, then a motion to adjourn is in
So
order
moved.
at
Second.
6:10. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.